Hey friend. So originally, this video was going to be just a video version of my Blogiversary post this past Monday, September 9th, 2019, in case you're watching this in the future. I celebrated my 4-year Blogiversary. So I've been blogging for 4 years. And I had a Q&A. People submitted questions about my blogging journey, and I answered those questions in this thorough post and included things like obstacles that I overcame, some of the best moments, how my blog has changed over the past 4 years, and what I've learned. If you'd like to check that post out, I'll put a link in the description down below for you. But I decided to kind of spontaneously change things up with this video because I just kind of felt something on my heart that I wanted to go a little bit more deeply into. I just kind of touched upon this in my blog post, and I just wanted to lean into that a little bit more in case it might encourage someone, whether you have a blog or a YouTube channel, maybe you're trying to write a book, maybe you're trying to learn a new skill so that you can move up in your career, or maybe you're learning a new skill so that you can shift careers. Whatever your goal may be, something that you're wanting to do, or maybe something that you're currently working on right now, I hope this video encourages you. I'm gonna go get my hot chocolate, and then let's get real about the journey of working towards your goal. So I decided to wear my Newport, Rhode Island sweatshirt today because it was the summer that I interned in Rhode Island, the summer of 2015, that I first started brainstorming about my very first blog. So I thought that'd be fitting for today's video. The first thing that I want to talk to you about today is that growth and progress take time. You don't just pick up a guitar for the first time in your life and you're just like a master level of it, like playing these crazy solos. And no. When you're in elementary school, you don't go from learning 2 plus 2 to then jumping to calculus. Like everything follows this progression. Whenever you start anything new, you start at the bottom. When I started my blog in 2015, those first few years were rough. I mean, there's that first initial little burst whenever you launch anything new, as people are checking it out, like your friends and family. But after that, it was rough. I would pour so much time and energy into writing these weekly blog posts and hardly get any views and little to no feedback at all. And that is so hard when you put something out there and there's just nothing. Like, no one says anything. You can see that some people are looking at it, but you have no idea, like, are they liking this? Is this changing their life? Do they hate it? Do they hate me? Like, you have no idea. When there's no feedback, you have no idea how people are reacting, what they think of your work, how you're doing. There's just no frame of reference. So you have to just keep guessing. And this went on for a while of me just continuing to show up, continuing to put in the work, because I knew, and I had some good advice, and I, also from reading from other people, I knew that it would take time, but it was starting to take longer than, it's just discouraging. It's hard to keep going when you're not seeing the fruits of something yet. But I kept hearing it said, and from so many different sources, that it takes a good 3 to 4 years whenever you're with a blog, with a business. It takes a good 3 to 4 years to gain traction and to start seeing that exponential growth. And so I tried to just trust that, to hope that that would be true. And so I just kept showing up, putting in the work. Whenever I did get feedback, I would use that. But all the other times I would just kind of keep bettering my craft, trying to better my writing, trying to learn as much as I could, doing whatever I could to bring my best. And then a shift finally happened when I made it to year 3. I started getting more engagement on Twitter and more followers, and I started to get more views to my blog. Some of my posts are doing better and better on Google, and the number of referrals from Google started doubling every single month. And it's only gotten better from then on. And this year has just been incredible with the growth that I've seen. And just from January to about August of this year, I've already doubled how many views I had total in all of 2018, and there's still a few months left. And I share that with you just to say that, what all these people kept, all these, blogging gurus kept saying was that it takes a good 3 to 4 years, and that ended up being true for me. It once I made it to year 3 and 4, like that's when everything changed and started to take off. But again, I had to get through those first, couple few years that were really tough, and I had, occasional feedback, some things that were really encouraging from people, but it was, just overall, it was just quite discouraging. And this is usually when other bloggers give up. I've seen so many people quit either before they even make it to their first year, but usually by year 1, that's when most bloggers give up. And it makes me so sad because if they would have just kept putting in the work for a little bit longer, success might have been just right around the corner. So you need to assess, is that worth it to you? Is this goal that you have something that you want enough that you are willing to put in the work and put in the work and put in the work and put in the work before, without seeing very much fruit of your labor for quite a while, Like another example would be, say you're trying to get abs, get that six pack, and it takes a lot of exercising to finally see a difference. It takes quite a while before you start to see the growth that is actually happening. So are you willing to keep going, having hope, knowing that you will eventually see that growth, but it might be a lot longer than is fun. Take a lot longer than you would like. But is that worth it to you? And if it's not worth it to you, then why would you do it? But if it is worth it to you, then do it and keep going. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Have people in your life who can help encourage you too. Come watch my videos again. And I will gladly come message me. I will gladly encourage you to keep going. Look up other stories of people who, went through a similar journey of how it took, because you don't often see the behind the scenes, right? We only see from our own perspective. We see people's highlight reels, we see their successes, we clearly aren't seeing their failures, because that's kind of why it was a failure, because it didn't work out, and so that's why you never saw it. But the majority of people, if not everyone, usually, like, there's the rare, sometimes success stories that just blow your mind. Someone starts a blog and it gets thousands of views within a week, but like, that's a very, very rare instance. Most of the time, for majority of people, it takes time, and there's a lot that you aren't seeing in their behind the scenes, right? You don't know what they've struggled with. You don't know what they've had to sacrifice, what they've had to put into this, relationships they've had to lose, or financial instability and stress, and not being able to sleep at night, and all the different failures and mistakes and all the times that they didn't want to keep going, but they kept going, and now you see their success. It paid off for them. So if you want to be successful in reaching your goal, you just have to keep showing up. You have to keep putting in the work. You have to have things in place that will help you keep going even when it gets hard, even when you aren't seeing the growth that you want as fast as you want. And that's why I often encourage people to keep record of where you started. Say that you are wanting to try to get abs, or, get fit. And so you take a before picture and hold on to that. Or maybe you are wanting to better your painting skills, so you keep that first painting. Maybe you are wanting to become a novelist, and you're really tempted to just totally delete that very first sucky draft that you wrote. But I encourage you, hold on to those things. You don't have to, you can keep it secret. You can keep it safe. Make sure no one else sees it if that's going to embarrass you. But, hold on to it somewhere. And, 1 month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, go back and compare where you were to where you are now, because I bet you'll be surprised, because when you're in it and you're just growing a little bit at a time, you often don't notice the growth that has happened. And so when you can look at, wow, I'm better than I thought I was, because look how crappy that was. Like you can see the difference. And when you can see that difference, it's so encouraging. It helps you to keep going, because, when you feel like you're not making much progress, that's when it's really tough to keep going, to keep putting in that work. But when you get that first little taste of, wow, I've improved, it's such a motivator to help you to keep trying to improve. So next, I want to talk to you about this concept of perspective a little bit more. Let's use me as an example. There's people who would look at me and where I'm at right now, and they would probably say, like, wow, you've been blogging for 4 years and you still only have this many followers and that many views. Like, you must be pretty bad at this. But then there's people on the opposite side who are looking at me who probably think I'm super successful, and they're like, wow, there's all these people who say nice things about her, and she's accomplished this and this. So why is that? How can there be people on such opposite extremes? Well, it's because it's all relative. It's all a matter of perspective and how each individual person defines success. And we usually come to those kinds of definitions by comparison. Say if you're trying to figure out where you fall with, your level of intelligence or something, you would, here's the most intelligent person in the world, here's the dumbest person in the world. That's your spectrum. And then whatever the majority is, that's what's considered normal. And we talked about this in an abnormal psychology class I took in the past. And really just the definition of normal is whatever is usual, whatever is done, said by the majority of people. Therefore, if the majority of people in the world were clucking like a chicken, that would be considered normal. And I think there is some worth to being able to compare to other things and have that as a reference point. But like, if something like what is normal or what is considered successful at the time is always changing, then how can you aim for it? And so I believe that you need to define what success is to you. Like, what matters to you the most? What do you value the most, so that you can then set goals that actually matter to you, and that then you can define the success of that goal by your own definition. That way, it can't keep changing. It's not affected by the outside world, outside people telling you what you should or shouldn't do. But rather, you've made these goals that are important to you, and that you have a clear end goal in mind of what is the purpose of this, what will be your measure of success. So you'll better know when you've reached it, and you'll be able to feel really good about it. And so I say all this to show you that it's not always so good to compare ourselves to other people, because we're unique individuals, right? We have our own story. We have our own unique journeys of growth, of working towards our goals, of what matters to us and what kind of goals we even want to set and reach anyways. And we have different motives behind why we're doing what we're doing. And to try to compare, to try to, respond to these shoulds that other people, either intentionally or unintentionally are putting on us, it's distracting. It distracts you from actually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So don't let yourself get distracted. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, why you want to reach this goal. And remember that it takes time, and your journey may look different from someone else's journey, but that doesn't mean it's any better or worse. It's what's best for you. I really hope this video is encouraging to you. If you're someone that's been working towards a goal for a really long time and you're starting to feel discouraged because you've put in so much work and you're just not seeing much for it yet, I first would encourage you to look back. If you have something tangible, from the beginning when you first started working towards this goal, or if you don't have anything tangible, just use your memory. Try to look back, think back to when you first started and see if there's any growth there, because you might have missed something, and that might help encourage you to keep going. And I encourage you to keep going, just keep showing up, keep putting in the work, because it takes time. As I talked about in my lessons from playing Pokemon video, sometimes personal growth is not all sunshine and daisies. It's not all just big bursts of aha moments and huge massive growth. Sometimes it's a slow, painful grind, but it will be worth it in the end, even if it's just to practice that discipline of working towards your goals, and if it's to, learn new things about yourself, of, maybe you're learning that this goal isn't as meaningful to you as you thought it was, and so maybe you need to pivot to something else, something that, maybe you learn that you are better in this area rather than this area, whatever it may be. You may learn more things about yourself. Yeah, it does take time to ever find that kind of success, to see the kind of growth that you want. So keep going. Seeing the growth of my blog in this fourth year has been so encouraging to me, and I just wanted to say thank you to every single one of you who are watching this video right now, or if you're someone who's been tracking with me for a longer time and reading my blog posts, any of you who've hit the like button or subscribed or shared my videos or my blog post. Every single little bit of that has meant so much to me. And by the way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. I talk about personal growth, and I try to give you the knowledge and the encouragement and the resources and the inspiration to keep moving forward and understanding more about who you are and how to then apply that for personal growth and reaching your goals. Also, feel free to comment below, tell me your thoughts on this video, or perhaps share one goal that you're working towards right now. Until next time, keep it real.